Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us this evening. For those of you who are just learning about She Learns here for the very first time, I'll do a very quick and brief introduction. So She Learns Here Initiative for Skills Empowerment is the full name, and it's a non-profit organization that is registered in Nigeria. And the vision is very simple. It's to get more women in tech and get more women using tech. So a lot of people um, say, oh, I'm looking to get into tech, but I don't know how. And then some people say, oh, I'm not, I'm not looking to get into tech. But then everybody uses tech. In fact, you're using it right now to, you know, watch us live. So the idea is to empower women to get into tech and then to use tech. So our mission is to teach and support women with digital skills and technology to improve their lives and businesses. And we do this through a number of programs and events, which you can find on our website, shilentia.org. I will type it in the comment box before the end of today. So enough about Shilens here. Let's introduce our guest today. I'm going to read her short profile. It is very short, and she's going to tell us about herself because I know that there's more to her than this, right? But just as an introduction for those watching live and for those who are going to watch the replay, Aminata is a former international development professional with experience spanning 12 countries. Okay, including Benin, Sierra Leone, India, the United Arab Emirates, and Haiti. And she currently resides in the United States. Okay, so today she serves as a senior project manager at Amazon, leading the project developments for Kindle Direct Publishing, KDP, the world's largest book publishing platform that enables authors around the world to publish and share their stories. Aminata's passion is deeply rooted in helping others, and she's an avid speaker on topics such as the intersection of technology and global development, women in technology, yay, and the transformative power of technology for social impact. So, ladies, please welcome Aminata to today's webinar. All right. So before we go on, this is just the first in a series of webinars. I have like, I think 10 guests for a start. Okay. So follow Shilens here, turn on your notification buttons if you're interested in, learning about starting a career in tech, transitioning into tech, or starting a business that uses tech, because not everybody is technical, right? And not everybody is interested in working in tech. Okay, so Aminata, please tell us a little about yourself.
Well, thank you for having me on first. Super excited to connect with you and your audience to learn more about your organization. You're doing really impactful work. And it intersects with a lot of my interests, actually. So like you said, I am coming from the humanitarian sector. So before I even thought about tech, all I knew about it was people who worked in help desk or engineers. That was my concept. Those are the two career paths, and neither were interesting to me. My passion was really kind of in social justice. I'm a big fan of economics. I love reading kind of things related to economics, development, foreign policy. So in my uni days, I followed that trajectory with the idea of eventually working for the UN. And I was on that career path, and I was working in the humanitarian sector, most notably in Sierra Leone during the Ebola outbreak. And that's actually where I began to really think about how technology is a tool, not just for people who are in the tech sector or who are techies, quote unquote, but just for
Mm-hmm.
people in general, even in environments where access to technology is variable. It's not just everyone has a smartphone or connectivity. Even in those contexts, technology can be something that is used to have impact, to solve issues and pain points. So that's a little bit about me. I came from an untraditional background, not thinking that there was this kind of work in the tech sector. And I quickly learned through my career trajectory that anything can be enabled through technology. Technology has a variety of different use cases to solve problems, and it has a variety of different ways where it can have impact.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So how did you come to that point where you made the decision to transition from development into technology? And yeah, how easy was it or how difficult?
I think I am still in that process. So I am
Mm-hmm.
working, I'm a tech professional, obviously, but that process started early on. Like I mentioned, there was a period where I was working in Sierra Leone during the Ebola outbreak, and many countries were impacted in West Africa, not just Sierra Leone. And during that time, although Sierra Leone was one of the most impacted countries, schools closed down for over a year.
Mm-hmm.
That meant all learning was stopped in its traditional fashion. So, kind of similar to what people are experiencing or did experience during the COVID pandemic,
Okay.
except Ebola is a very, very, very contagious and dangerous ailment.
Yeah.
And so during that time, the Ministry of Education, where in Sierra Leone, where I was working, was very interested in how can we continue learning in this atmosphere. Sierra Leone is considered an emerging market, low income. The access to connectivity, to Wi-Fi, to computers, it's not standard across the country. So we really had to think through what did that solution mean in an environment where everyone does not have access to these tools. How do we create not only appropriate learning opportunities, but ones that work where people aren't familiar with going on to, the World Wide Web, connecting to a learning management system and interacting on a user interface that has all of these buttons and pop-ups and widgets. So we took a step back and I work with my team to think through what does that really mean in this context, not a one size fit all. And I was super interested in that work, just kind of thinking through different use
Mm-hmm.
cases of how technology can be used differently in different situations. One of my favorite products is WhatsApp, in that like so many people
Yeah.
use it around the world. So you can talk to someone from the UK, and that person can talk to someone in Laos, PDR, in Vietnam. And although these environments are very different, you're connected on this tool. And just thinking
Mm-hmm.
through how individuals can connect and solve problems that they have using technology became something I was interested in. My background, for context, is in the education space. So I entered the development sector with a key focus on education programming. So after I finished my work in Sierra Leone, I joined a headquarters office with the international organization, and I began leading programs in different countries. So amongst which some of you mentioned, so Haiti, Benin, Ethiopia, Kenya, and all of those programs were focused on education, and they pushed the team to think through how we can use technology to address issues. So whether that's teacher training, whether that's coaching, whether that's differentiated instruction, I just became super passionate about this is a solution that we can use to impact change in meaningful ways.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I started to pivot. And then I felt like I soon became a big fish in a small pond. So I
Mm-hmm.
say that to say I was working for these organizations and they do humanitarian work very well. What they might not
Mm-hmm.
do as well is tech focused work, meaning we might not
Okay.
have a full tech team like a huge organization that's tech first, like an Amazon or a Google, or even some of the smaller ones. And so I wanted to deepen my understanding on the technical side, not just on the implementation side. And so that's when I began thinking about what does a pivot mean from working in a sector that has technology focused programming but isn't tech first to how do I go to do tech first to solve the issues that I'm interested in, which is social impact.
Mm, interesting. Yeah. So you mentioned a couple of things, right?
Mhm.
You mentioned, from what you said, that what piqued your interest in tech is that you saw it as a tool for solving problems. And, this is what
Mhm.
I tell a lot of women, because most women, when they hear technology, they're thinking, oh, I'm going to code, or I'm going to carry something that is heavy, and you go, no, 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 I don't know anything about that. But technology simply means something that makes life easier. Like,
Mhm.
we need to get to that level where we understand that that's what technology is. People used to just walk on foot and ride on horses, and then someone thought, okay, if I could put wood together and put wheels, it will make
Mhm.
it easier to get to where we're going faster. That's technology, you
Exactly.
know and then the thing is, it's even easier right now to get into technology because you really don't have to be technical. I tell people I don't know a single, okay, I do know some lines of
The
code.
people are
I
gonna
was
fight
going to
you.
say
They
I
said I'm
don't.
technical. Don't say,
Yeah, I was
don't
going
have
to say
them
I
fight
don't know a single line of code, but
you.
maybe I do, but
Mhm.
I don't need to. I was showing my kids the other day
Mhm.
how I created a landing page
Mhm.
with code on ChatGPT, you
Mhm.
know. And I didn't have to code anything. It did it by itself. I only prompted it. So a lot of women need to come to that realization that you don't have to be technical to be in tech. You
Mhm.
just need, which takes me to the second point, which is curiosity. You need to
Yeah.
be curious, right? You need to be someone that not just sees problems, but thinks about how to solve those problems. Because in trying to solve problems, you start creating things.
Mhm.
And that's what technology is. You start creating products and services, and then you start using the platforms that have been created to market your products and services.
Absolutely.
So this takes me to my next question, which is um, who is a product manager? Let's even have that understanding because there's someone on the call who said, I'm
Yeah.
an aspiring product manager. So please tell us
Great.
who a product manager is and what a product manager does. And what's the difference between a product manager, a product owner, and a project manager?
Great
Okay,
question.
maybe start with one and then we'll go to the other one.
So who is a product manager? What is a product manager? So when you think about a technology team, the team people usually think about are engineers, right? That
Mhm.
comes first to mind, the developers who create the tool, the solution. But before you even get to that point, there's a person, it's usually the product manager, that identifies an opportunity, a problem, a pain point, an issue, um, yeah, that can be solved through technology. And so the product owner or product manager, excuse me, is the person who kind of thinks through from the business and strategy side, what are some opportunities that we can leverage either new technologies or our existing technologies to create solutions. And they work with the developers, the engineers, sometimes designers to come through create solutions or opportunities for that. So that might be through Scrum practices where the engineering team is leading with their Scrum Master and the product manager is helping drive some of the strategic approach. In terms of your other question, the product owner, and it's interesting because I'm based in the States, but I've seen actually in different contexts, people use the terms interchangeably. They're not really interchangeable roles, but organizations, depending on capacity, funding, what have you,
Mhm.
they might say product owner slash product manager. Technically,
Okay.
a product owner is someone who helps drive kind of a specific product with a Scrum team. They don't necessarily get in the overarching the business impact or strategy as it relates to the opportunity with this product as a whole ecosystem, but they're more
Mm-hmm.
focused on very specifics of that product line. A product manager usually has a bigger or more robust view of things. So within a company, for example, you might have a product like, let's say, WhatsApp, I mentioned. Within that WhatsApp team, there might be different teams, smaller teams that own specific pieces of that product. So, like, that might be, I think WhatsApp now has communities or something like that.
Yeah.
Haven't touched into that.
Communities, the
Um,
status,
Yes, they might
groups.
have a team for activations or new people for growth. Product
Mm-hmm.
owners usually own the small piece of that pie, and the product manager owns the bigger piece. So thinking through how does this product overall and all of these features work together to help drive improve business opportunities, better services, growth opportunities, things like that.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so Bangladesh says she's so excited
I'm
because
glad.
she's the one that said she's an aspiring product manager. So if you have any questions, please drop them. Just click on the question tab, and once I'm done with my own questions, then I will take some of yours. Okay. So can you share maybe some of your wins and then some of your challenges as a product manager? Okay, before that, I'm
Mhm.
sure I'm asking this question on behalf of a lot of people, maybe myself inclusive. How did you get into Amazon?
How did I get to Amazon? I think
Yeah.
it kind of goes back to your point about you don't have to be someone who has the strongest aptitude in technologies because companies are willing to train,
Mhm,
especially bigger companies, so long as they see that you are a talent that is either one, bringing something they don't have, and a two, this is not maybe not an or, and two are trainable. So
mhm.
I actually was headhunted. I didn't apply to Amazon. I actually didn't even think of Amazon
Really?
as one of the companies I was interested in. I kind of
Hmm.
had some target companies that worked in the ed tech space that I was interested in, primarily companies that work in the ed tech space that were bigger and more visible, and a few in
Hmm.
fintech that were working in emerging markets. However, my LinkedIn profile, and I'm a big proponent of
Hmm.
women in particular, really leveraging LinkedIn to the best of their
Hmm.
ability, really called out my unique experience, not only in thinking about solving problems with technology in emerging markets and also middle income markets, but it also amplifies some of my other skill sets. So during the period where I was working at headquarters at a larger organization, I obtained my certified Scrum Master
Okay.
certification. And that kind of gave some validity to my background in terms of being a tech professional. And I think because a lot of tech companies have people who apply that have very conventional backgrounds. So from
Mm,
the product side, you see a lot of people who go to business school, or a lot of people who may have done like boot camps and were former like scrum masters, product owners,
mm,
project
mhm,
managers coming in. Rarely, not rarely, but people with kind of unconventional backgrounds, so me in the humanitarian sector, isn't
mm,
as common, and I think that's what helped me stand out.
okay.
So the organization in Amazon that recruited me was a team that was working on book products in emerging markets. So they were interested in seeing how can we leverage some of the
Ah,
existing solutions that we have for new marketplaces that we aren't conventionally in. And so that's how they found me. I think the recruiter even sent me an email on LinkedIn directly. I didn't even open it at first. I think it sat in my inbox for like 2 weeks because I
oh,
just
wow.
wrote Amazon off. I was like, that's not interesting to me. I
Oh,
don't want
yeah.
to work on e-commerce. And that's
Oh,
why I will
really?
push our community today in that
Mhm.
sometimes these organizations, you know them for one thing, but they do so much more. So
Yeah.
WhatsApp is part of like Meta, and that's like a whole ecosystem of a variety of different tools. So
Mhm,
people know Amazon as Amazon.com, Amazon.co.uk, maybe Prime, things like that. But there's a
mhm.
variety of different other solutions,
Product.
product tools
Yeah.
that these companies have. And I think for people who are trying to pivot into big tech, identifying one, what differentiates you from other people. So that might be I was a former nurse, and I want to use my background and expertise in the healthcare sector to now parlay that into like farm tech, pharmaceuticals and
Mm,
technology, or e-medicine and things like that, and finding not only companies that specialize in it, but companies that might not specialize in it yet, but are interested in that work, so they're just
mm,
starting to do it. So I think, to answer your question in short, how I ended up in Amazon is my background was very visible on my LinkedIn. It
mm,
called out my unique experience and expertise that differentiated
mhm,
me from the variety of people who apply at Amazon. And
mhm.
I think it was also optimized to be easily found by recruiters. So someone
Mm.
who was interested, and this happens quite often, even prior to Amazon, people reaching out because my profile is optimized to be viewed and ready for recruiters to be interested in me.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. So this is another thing that, I tell women, you don't just sit and wait for opportunities to come to you, because when the opportunity comes, it has to meet you ready. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so sometimes you hear things like, I've not even opened my LinkedIn in
Oh,
2 years. And I'm like, are you seriously
yeah.
serious right now? And you say that you're looking for a job. So my current job, yeah, so I I moved, like, not
Mhm.
everybody. I moved into the UK this year, and my current job I got on LinkedIn, right, as a digital marketing manager, based on my background, being a freelance digital marketing agency owner, and designing websites, and also founding and running She Learns Here for the past 7 years. So we need to also understand as women that your skills are transferable. I think that's
Mhm.
one thing that a lot of women need to understand. Like tech, the non-technical aspects of technology require transferable skills that you might
Mhm.
already have and you don't know. So there are people who easily can think of solutions to problems. That's problem
Mhm.
solving skills. There are people who have customer service skills.
Yeah.
I think that can come in as maybe if you're a product owner or scrum master or something. I don't know. There are a lot of
So many.
transferable
Yeah.
skills that you have that you want to say something about that.
I was just even thinking about like the transferable skills piece,
Mm-hmm,
I again, people commonly think of like the hard tech, areas, so engineers, AI, all of these different things. But even on the art side, like today I was collaborating with a UX designer, and her mind is unlike mine. Although I like beautiful things and I have an
mm-hmm,
eye for it, she has a way of presenting and organizing just different things in a
yeah.
very useful way. And that's the job of a UI or UX or UI designer, being able to see something and think through, is this actually intuitive for somebody? And some people have that natural aptitude, so
Mm-hmm,
even as
mm-hmm.
women, when you organize your home, like, okay, I want the living room here, this chair here, not to
Yeah.
block a person,
you
obstruct.
know
Okay, I'm having a function and this is here,
yeah,
we have that way
that's
that we
that's
think. And
that's UX. Yeah.
some people, it's even stronger than other people, so really
Mm-hmm,
drilling down
mm-hmm.
into those things. And then
Yeah.
also, when you identify those things that you're strong at, giving yourself time to invest in that so you can kind of develop those skills. So when you put it on
Mm-hmm,
LinkedIn, you can say, oh, on my side project, I help do X, Y, and Z, because I've
mm-hmm.
had this experience. You don't
Yeah.
always have to wait for the job to come to you. Sometimes you can create your own opportunity and then you
Mm-hmm.
put it on LinkedIn and it's like, okay, I've done this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, to add to that, I remember when I was applying for the Global Talent Visa to come to the UK, and
Mhm.
I had to put together 10 pieces of evidence from
Wow.
from have you worked, have you done anything outside of your work, outside of your job,
Mhm.
um and then having to put, oh, okay, I founded a non-profit, and
Yeah.
then volunteering. A lot of people don't understand the power of volunteering. So I volunteered with Google Business Groups, which is like a community group founded by Google, where it's like a peer training and mentoring group. So
Mm-hmm.
if you have tech skills, if you have Google skills, you can then teach other people who own small businesses how to use those, apps and Google tools and all of that. I also volunteered for Google Women Will, which is like the Google business groups, but dedicated to women and
Mm-hmm.
business and general things. So and then I had like maybe almost 10
Wow.
different organizations that I could put forward, that, oh, I'm volunteering for this and that. And like you are volunteering for She Learns Here Now. So
Yeah.
and for anyone here who wants to be a product manager, you might just have the opportunity to be mentored by Aminata. Um, so you
Nice.
can send a DM after this, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll see how that goes. You might just have the opportunity to, but if you're chosen to be mentored, please don't bug her. She's very busy. We'll keep it structured anyway. Okay, we'll talk about that later. Okay, so can you share some of your wins and your challenges um,
Mm-hmm.
so far?
Let's start with challenges and then end on like wins. I think one of the challenges coming from, and I think this is something a lot of women face from studies around imposter syndrome, feeling like you have to be overly qualified for a role to even apply,
Mm-hmm.
and, with Amazon, they found me. So I went through the application process, but then in doing that, I said, are they sure? Like, I don't know. I have a background, but like, who are the other people I'm going against? So I started like thinking, oh, okay, there's me, and maybe they picked me because of my unique experience, but I'm probably going against someone who's been in the product space for 10 years, and is
Mm-hmm.
just missing
Mm-hmm.
maybe that emerging market, but they know the skill. It's a hard one. I
Mm-hmm.
think imposter syndrome is the
Sure.
one. And I think it's something that many women experience, primarily those
Mm,
who are pivoting into a new career or starting their career.
mm,
Just questioning, one, are you ready for the work that you're interested in? Are you ready for the team or the company you're going to work in? And even as you're applying, when you get that interview, you need to be excited. You know, as it right, maybe, they
yeah.
saw something, but I've oversold myself. And so I think we constantly question and question and question ourselves in ways that other
Mm,
people might not do.
yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
that one. Um, in terms of, and I guess even, let me speak to how to not resolve that, but get past that. I don't want to end it on like,
Mm,
that's just a challenge. I think in terms of that, it's really what I found for myself is really like not questioning, but interrogating why I feel that way,
mm-hmm.
why I feel that in spite of someone reaching out to me, in spite of my robust experience, why do I feel like I'm not as qualified, or why do I feel like I might not be the perfect person for the job? I've
Mm,
successfully held many jobs with no issues. So why all of a sudden I'm getting an interview and now I'm questioning myself, or I'm joining a new team, I'm
yourself.
questioning myself.
Yeah.
The data shows historically I haven't had an issue with any new team I've joined. So why am I thinking it
Mm,
will be any different? So really challenging those moments of imposter syndromes with like what we know to be true. And a
mm,
lot of time what we know to be true from our background is rarely, if ever, are we actually not able to do what we're supposed to do. We might struggle. We might have to take extra time or take a little bit of longer. But to say,
sure.
foul pa, I can't do anything. That wasn't
Mm,
my situation. And I also think many women, it's not their situation, even though they have that
mm,
imposter syndrome. In terms of wins or successes, let me think. I think for one, and Amazon's so PNC with a lot of things, but in my first year with the company, I've been able to lift a product launch that's had worldwide impact, you know. Um, I can't get into like the nitty gritties about it, unfortunately,
No.
but it received significant
Okay.
media coverage. It's landed in the hands or on the computers or mobile devices of
Hmm.
hundreds of thousands of people, you know, and to know that I've had that impact just in my first year of work is amazing. And only because of me being able to identify an opportunity to improve something for the author experience. I actually didn't even talk about where I work in Amazon. Sorry. Backtrack. Within Amazon, I work with a team called Kindle Direct Publishing. So if you are in the writing space, interested in being an author, you might know about it. If not, many people know
I'm
about,
interested.
yes, many people know about Kindle, like the device you use to read.
Hmm.
Outside of that, Amazon also helps people who are authors or aspiring authors to publish their books. We have authors who are bestsellers, New York Times, like high ranking, and then we have authors who are new and wrote their first book for the first time ever, you know? And it's a really great tool. It enables people around the world to be at home or wherever they are to publish a story on a print or digital format to sell it worldwide to earn royalties and not have to worry about carrying a stock of inventory or having to track reports and itemize this, and that. So it's a seamless solution that enables anyone to self-publish digitally, and they can self-publish print or digital books. So that's a little bit of context.
Hmm. Interesting, interesting. So when you were talking, I noticed something that
Mhm.
I've noticed for a number of years, working with and coaching women,
Mhm.
especially women who are, who run businesses
Mhm.
or women in tech like yourself. Um, it's easy for us to think about challenges.
Mhm.
And, if you say share your challenges and your wins, the challenges come, and then the
Mhm.
win, you're like, okay, let me think about it.
Yeah.
But there are wins. It's
Mhm.
just that again, it's that imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
It's that is this really a win? Is
Mhm.
this really something significant? But it is, there's something that I've heard and I say often: a win is a win. And what yes, a win is however small you think it is.
Mhm.
If and the way I think that we need to approach wins is set small goals for yourself at
Mhm.
work, in life, set so you have your big vision,
Mhm.
and then you have small goals so that, for example, okay, I want to um what example can I give now? Let's say I'm in Manchester
Mhm.
in the UK and I want to go to London, and I'm saying, okay, I'm going to set some small wins. When I get to maybe Luton, I'm not I don't really go out, so I don't know so much yet. When I get to Luton, I'll celebrate. When I get to Essex, I'll celebrate, like that, so that you have a lot to celebrate. And the thing is, it
Mhm.
just helps to boost your confidence.
Agreed.
It helps to, especially at work.
Agreed.
And if you work in a male dominated field, for
Mhm.
example, because you're all constantly celebrating something, then you have that confidence boost. Okay, so my next question will be, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently if you were to start your career all over again?
Mm, that's a great question. What would I do differently?
Mm.
Um, uh-oh, did you disconnect?
No, I'm here. I'm here.
I was like, what's going on? What would I do differently? I think two things come to mind. So I think in my uni days, I
Mm.
I think sometimes there's like I'm sure you're familiar, Dr. Laura and Genia kind of thing. Like there's these three tracks that you go because of
Yeah.
the potential earnings opportunity.
Hmm.
And luckily,
I was
the
supposed
track
to be
that
a
I went,
doctor.
and I was kind of like the lawyer, but I was more interested in international, but I kind of went that track, and pivoted.
Uh,
But I think one thing I would have done in my uni days is realize it's not either or, you can
mm-hmm,
do,
mm-hmm,
if you still want to really think about like the
mm,
financial opportunity for your career trajectory. I understand that, and that's very relevant in
mm,
today's day and age. You can do that and also have another area of interest and have a double major. So I am a firm advocate of like, you don't have to just be a one thing. You don't have to just be a lawyer. You can be a
mm,
lawyer and an artist. You can be an engineer and, I don't know, a historian. Like, I
mm,
would just say in my undergrad days, I wish I knew that you don't have to just pick one thing. And I think my career
mm,
made me realize that, oh, I didn't just have to be a humanitarian professional international. I could still do tech and do this,
mm.
and very
Yeah.
rarely are we ever just one thing. And then I think the second thing in terms of my career that I would do differently is I'm getting to a point in my career where now people are reaching out to me. And I used to do that in my earlier days, like, find people online. Oh, your career is so interesting. Can I talk to you? Kind of
Mm.
thing. Um, I would say what I would do differently is when I did that, I think I was in my early 20s. I think you can
Mm,
still do that in like the middle segment of your career. It's not just when you're fresh out that you're reaching out to people to learn about the work that they're doing. I think sometimes as we get older, we get busy, we get kind of situated in our careers, and we're like, okay, this is the trajectory I'm on. And there's no reason to reach out to other people to learn about what they're doing or their interests, except
mm,
if I'm pivoting. But even if you're
mm.
not pivoting, you can still benefit from reaching out to other people and connecting with them. And I think we do that
Yeah.
so well when we're young, when we're just like out of college because we're trying to get that first job, that first internship, and we're like, okay, hello, how are
Mm,
you? What are you? You know what I mean? We're very good at that. But once we get older, I think we kind of become less interested and do less of it, and we
mm.
become the people come to. But I think what I would do differently, or I'll continue to push myself to do, is still make those connections, reach out to people in my network and outside of my network to learn about what they're doing. Because why not? We're still learning every day. So long as we're
Yeah,
breathing, we're
yeah,
learning.
yeah, yeah, sure. And so I hear a lot of women say, "Oh, I'm an introvert, so it's difficult for me to reach out to people." And I tell people I am an introvert. Like, and
We've
people
talked
always
about this
do,
a lot.
"Oh,
Yes.
you know."
Very
And people say,
understand.
"No, I don't believe you. It's a lie. You're not." And I'm like,
Yes.
if I go out to an event or a function for one day, I have to hibernate at home for 2 days to recover. Like,
Quoted to
like,
correspondence.
like nobody really knows. I love my own company, but
Mhm.
then when you realize that everything is not about you, you
Mm.
know, life
Hey.
life is not, yeah, life is not just about you. You can't, and when everything is I am, then it just sounds like you're a selfish person. So there are
Mhm.
people that you need to reach out to
Yes.
that need you, and then there
Mm-hmm.
are people that you need,
Mm-hmm.
that if you don't reach
Mm-hmm.
out, you won't even know. You will
Yeah,
not even know that you need them.
absolutely.
There are people that I have met in the past 10 months of
Mm-hmm.
being in the UK. For example, when did I get to know you? Just
Yeah.
a few months ago. Yeah. There's someone on this call that I met this month. Yeah. And she's going to be one of the guests on
Yeah.
this webinar series. So if you don't reach out, there are things that you will miss.
Mm-hmm.
And there are ways to
Absolutely.
reach out actually, because sometimes some people just go about it in such a way that it now becomes like a burden.
Yeah.
Like, so you need to bring something to the table. Don't
Mm-hmm.
be um don't be this person that you just want to take, take,
Yeah.
take, take. Okay, how can you help me do this? How can you, what are you bringing to the table? There's no human being that is useless. You have something
Yeah.
that, if it's, oh, okay, can I help you maybe design flyers for your social
Yeah.
media? There are things that you can just,
I
um,
heard.
I don't even know the word, like volunteer to do for someone, especially when you want someone to mentor you or coach you or something. Well, coaching is on another level. I have to pay if I'm going to coach you.
That's another level.
Yeah, but just be, you just have to be brave, really, because even people
Mhm.
that are not introverts, people that are not shy, it's not every
Mhm.
time that you see someone and then you feel like approaching the person.
Yeah.
So, interesting. I'm having fun learning some things. Maybe I will pivot into
Yeah.
product management.
It's a great
Yeah,
career. It's interesting.
yeah,
Of course, I
yeah.
don't know everything in tech, but it's great. It's definitely great.
Mhm. So, what advice do you have for any woman who wants to start
Mhm.
a career as a product manager or who wants to pivot? So,
Mhm.
those are like two different questions, yeah?
Yeah, who wants to
First of
start? So,
all, yeah, maybe just coming out of school or
yeah.
early career, not yet settled, and is thinking, okay, I think I'm liking this product manager, thing I'm
Mhm.
hearing about. How can I start? And then the second one is she
Mhm.
has had a career, 5, 6, 7, 8
Yeah.
years doing something else, but is now thinking, okay, I want to do this now. What advice do you have?
I think for those who are just starting their career, there's so many exciting programs I've seen with larger organizations like the banks, Meta, Amazon, Apple, that are almost like fellowships that you can join on for a year and rotate within the company and learn about different functional roles, including product. I think that's great to take advantage of, even if you know you want to do product, because a product manager interfaces with so many different people in their day. So whether it's legal, whether it's engineering, whether it's designers, whether it's researchers, whether it's like QA, you're talking to so many different people. And participating in a rotational program is beneficial because you get to try different things and see things from their perspective. And I think what makes a successful product manager is someone who's able to influence in a way that makes sense. So you might not have the authority to dictate that, another team takes on this work because it's important to your customers. But you might be able to influence them by finding connections of why it's relevant if you understand what they do. But if you don't know what they do, it's harder to have that influence. So I would say early career starters is really look into doing research about rotational programs at different companies. It doesn't have to be a huge company, even smaller ones. Startups are great because give you an opportunity to grow, to even like convert into an actual role, is very beneficial. And for those who are pivoting, so someone kind of similar to myself who's pivoted from another career, I think what I have found useful is kind of finding, like I said, what you are strong at and finding a company that does that, And so, for example, when I was coming out, I did an audit of my professional background and what I come in really strong with. I come in with strong subject matter expertise in instruction, curriculum, education. I came in with a CSM, so I was a certified Scrum Master. I came in with a high level understanding of product roles, and then I came in with deep knowledge of like building tools and solutioning in emerging markets. Then I identified companies that do those things because being able to pitch yourself to a company that works in that space and you bring in that expertise is really helpful because when they hire, generally they will hire people who might not have that subject matter expertise. So they might be an engineer who is just an engineer, but they do not know about education programs and best practices for learning, or they might not know about you know I guess supply demand for pharmaceuticals, for example. But if you have that background, not only do you have the unique understanding from either the business or consumer perspective, but then you can come in from the tech side. So really targeting organizations that are in the domain that you have experience in, but are building tech.
Okay, nice. Thank you, thank you so much
Yeah.
for that. Really interesting because yeah, a lot of companies in tech now, there's an overlap
Mm-hmm.
between tech and everyday okay, between tech and um other professions. So there's health tech,
Yeah.
there's pharma tech, there's
Yeah.
agri tech, there's climate tech,
Media.
there's edu
I
tech,
spoke to someone recently who does
yeah, media
product
tech.
work in what was the company? New York Times. And I was like, oh, New York Times has like product team. I guess so. They do have digital
Oh,
products. That makes
you know,
sense.
yeah. So wherever you are right now, if you're thinking, oh, I want to pivot, I want to transition into tech, there are companies that focus on that part as a SaaS,
Yeah.
like maybe a software as a service
Service.
company,
Yes.
or uh, or products companies and all of that. And we need to learn also to do our research, because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times you just want people to tell you what to do.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, it may not be what you want to do. So you need to sit down, like Aminata said, and think about it. Okay, what are the skills that I have, my experience, and what kind of companies, what kind of tech companies would require, and be able to use, where will I be able to use
Provide
my
value.
experience and fit in and provide value, that they will even need me. Do you
Mm-hmm.
understand?
Yeah.
So very, 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 very valid points.
And I think especially
Wow.
for product
Yeah.
managers, because a lot of what we do is very customer centric. So even if
Mm,
it's kind of B2B, business to business, or even
mhm,
business to consumer, like we're really trying to think through opportunities to improve what we're
mhm.
doing for our customers, whoever they might be. So if you have that experience from knowing how to think through services, from your subject matter expertise because you worked in that domain, that gives you a
Yeah,
unique perspective to be able to advocate for that
exactly.
customer and build for them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Aminata.
Yeah,
It's been a very enlightening
I'm
um
glad.
55 minutes now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if does anybody have a question, I'm just going to check. So nobody has posted a question in the questions tab. Does anybody have a question? If you have a question, please type it out now, so that Aminata can answer. Um, if you joined us in the middle of the call, I'm having a chat with Aminata, who is a former international development professional with experiences spanning 12 countries, and she currently works as a senior product manager at Amazon. And she has been sharing her story, her journey, pivoting from development, education into tech, and how it's currently going. So if I'm just going to see if there's any comment. Let me just go back in the comments to see if anybody posted a question in the comments. Okay, Bangladesh, I'm an aspiring product manager. Okay, um, opportunities have to meet you ready. Definitely,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. And Stephanie said uh, that part, transferable skills, also packaging yourself well on LinkedIn. Absolutely, absolutely. So Stephanie is the person I was talking about, that she's also going to be a guest. So we'll talk more about LinkedIn when you're here, Stephanie. Okay. Bangladesh, can I know more about the program? What program? I'm not sure what program you're talking about. If you just like to quickly type that, we have 2 minutes. So while we're waiting, I'll just say thank you so much, Aminata. Thank you for being brave enough to be the first guest
Yeah.
in this series. Because some people were saying, "No, I'm not going to be the first. I want to see what I want to see what it's about first." And also, thank you for being brave enough. And I've had such a wonderful time. This is going to be saved. So that people can come back and watch it. Okay,
Mhm.
so what advice would you give to an aspiring product manager? I think you already answered that, yeah?
Mhm. Yes.
Or you want to quickly say something?
Um, Aspiring project manager,
Product.
product manager. I think what I shared is if you're starting out your career, like definitely take part of rotational programs. And that might be what the person was referencing actually. And different
Oh,
companies
okay.
have different rotational programs. So you would just search early career, um, fresher, and then the company and product manager, and those programs should come up. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Did she drop off? Can you still see or hear her? Because I can.
I'm still
Oh,
here.
okay. 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 Yeah. So I was going to say for Nigeria, I know Andela has programs for, but I think that's for software developers. I'm not sure if they have that. There's also ALX or something. But if you search,
Mhm.
Google is your friend
Yeah, and
actually.
I
If you
think I've
search
seen
for,
product
yeah,
communities in Nigeria. So I
mhm,
might not know off
yeah,
the top of my head, but I know there are product communities that are Nigeria specific. So
hmm,
definitely search that,
yeah,
like Slack
definitely,
groups, and then they frequently post events and programs to
yeah.
get tapped in. Hmm.
Okay, so there's another question. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Yeah, I love what I'm doing. I hope to do it in a larger way. So outside of Amazon, I'm a published author. I help run a tool called Readers Inspire that helps promote African heritage picture books to families, to teachers, to help them be
Hmm.
able to identify them, to share them, to talk about them. And so hopefully to do more work with that and kind of basically create a mechanism for people worldwide to be able to read more African heritage picture books and talk about it and form conversation. So yeah.
Okay, yeah. So do you want to talk about your books briefly just before we
Yeah.
go?
Um,
Because,
so
you did mention that earlier.
yeah, so I'm a published author. I specialize in children's picture books. Also do author coaching for authors. I work with authors in Nigeria, the UK, US, Canada. And then what I do with my picture books is I create stories that help center traditional cultures, traditional aspects of our culture and heritage, but in a meaningful way that avoids stereotypes. So no poverty, no famine, none of those cliches that we constantly see in a lot of the literature focused on
Mm-hmm.
children that have African families.
Okay. So if someone wanted to reach out to you, for example, for book writing, coaching, and all,
Yeah, you can connect with
how
me on Readers Inspired on social media. I'm on IG and then also my website, www.readersinspired.com.
Okay, great. So thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much. It's
you.
been an amazing evening. I've enjoyed myself, and I'm sure that everyone on the call, have also had a great time. Like I said, I'm going to save this so that people can come back and watch it. And thank you so much, Aminata. It
You're
was really nice chatting
welcome. Thank you so
with
much
you.
for
So
having me. Thank
yeah.
you. It's
So
been
thank
such
you
a joy.
everyone for thank you. Thank you everyone for joining. If you'd like to learn more about She Learns Here, please go to our website, shelearnshere.org, and you see all our programs. We're going to be back next week. I'm
Mhm.
going to be chatting with Kadebi Ojomo, who is the founder of Conversion Academy. She is into the business side of tech, so it'll be interesting to have that conversation with someone who is in the business side as well as the technical side of tech. So thank you everyone and have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.